Let's talk Jets. At this point, Zach Wilson is. Paul, what is Zach Wilson?
Let me see here. What did I write down? Oh, yeah. Okay. The key to this question is at this point, not a previous point, not a future point, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And considering that question, because apparently I misinterpreted the last question. So I want to make sure I get this one exactly correct for Mr. Missick.
Mm-hmm.
And that is it. At this point, Zach Wilson is Alex Smith with hydraulics, okay? That's what he is.
Hitting switches.
That's what he is. He can bump and do a little, bacon shake, a little bit of that action, okay? But right now, since he's come back from his injury, he only has 2 picks in the last 4 games. Very nice. Just had his first game without committing a turnover. And to me, it's very Alex Smith-ish, a little bit of that.
Say that again. Say that again 2 times.
Yeah, Alex Smith-ish. Yeah, there you go. Got that a little better that time.
Got it in. There we got it.
But the point is, to get that for the camera crew that's getting the hits for social media, you're welcome. But the point is, prior to the injury, you saw the wildness, the crazy Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and all these crazy people he was compared to coming out of the draft. You saw that. You saw some touchdowns, but a lot of turnovers. This time, he's brought it back. There's still the dynamic play. Again, that's the hydraulics part of it. Alex Smith never had that. He was always just his game manager, which was very good. He's a very good player, and they should name the NFL Comeback Player of the Year award after him and all that jazz. But right now, I believe Zach Wilson is exactly that. He's been a perfect game manager, but he still has the hydraulics to give you the pop every once in a while. That's what he is right now.
Alex Smith with hydraulics. That is very interesting. Mr. Adams, what do you say?
Man, for the life of me, I can't think of Zach Wilson without thinking about Justin Fields. It just boggles my mind still how leading into the draft. Now, Justin Fields ended up going, higher than projected, but leading into the draft, you would have thought Justin Fields could go in the second round the way people were talking about him.
Yeah.
If he wasn't a 5-star recruit with Trevor Lawrence, as if he wasn't in some circles believed to be better than Trevor Lawrence heading into college.
Yes.
And then as if he didn't get recruited by Georgia, then somehow got picked over by Jake Fromm over Fields, who people are very sensitive here in the Atlanta area about that, Georgia fans. And then went to Ohio State, balled out in the college football playoff with a rib injury and everything else. So I know this isn't really answering your question, but I just cannot see Zach Wilson's name without thinking about Justin Fields and how angry I would be if I was a Jets fan, because every time I saw Zach Wilson, I would think, why did my team not take Justin Fields? And I'm a massive college football fan, so anyone that watched college football, I don't see any way that you would make an argument for Zach Wilson. Now, having said that, I think Zach Wilson is TBD. And I think it's unfair to say what his career is going to be, because it's just not his fault that the Jets drafted him.
Yeah.
If Mac Jones and Zach Wilson swap places, there's a good chance. I think there's still a decent chance that the Patriots could have a similar record. But that didn't happen. And so I don't know. I can't say that I'm, unfortunately or fortunately, depending how you look at it, I can't say I'm locked into every single Jets game to make a assessment. But my sense is that the blocking and the playmaking weapons and the run game is not an ideal situation for a rookie quarterback. Now, correct me, Paul, if I am off base there, but that would be just a hunch based on what I see from the
a little Elijah Moore action. He looks pretty good. Michael Carter, not too bad. Mr. Draft Man, a couple of those guys not too shabby, but I get your
Michael
point.
Carter, yeah. But do you think that the current Jets roster is enough for a rookie quarterback to succeed? In other words, do you think, if you're just saying pass fail based on what he's working with, what would you give him?
Well, this probably skirts out of your question, but Sam Darnold was handed a lot less, is what I'll say. From what Sam Darnold got to what Zach Wilson got, we're talking about filet mignon to crap on the street. I mean that's the difference. Now, is it fair to compare him to that, or is it to be a level playing field? Now, that's a proper conversation and debate. I think the weapons were solid enough. Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. Offensive line, again, there were issues. Again, another rookie that I loved, Elijah Vera Tucker. But, I think there were some holes to the game. There's no question. It was not perfect. There's no question about it.
Yeah. That's fair.
What about you, Ryan? At this point, Zach Wilson is?
At this point, Zach Wilson is out of whack. Out of whack. Oh. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to give you arguments for both sides. I agreed with most, if not all, of what you guys said. I think he was dealt a bad hand this week. I mean, previous weeks he had Corey Davis, he had Elijah Moore. This week you don't have them. You have Keelan Cole, Jamison Crowder. Mims was basically betting against his own team with the penalties during the game. But man, he's out of whack. I'm telling you, the mechanics are off at times. He's inaccurate, and I get it. You can sort of say, like, if he gets the accuracy part, then he's all good. But there's a whole saying, like, you can't teach accuracy. You can't teach accuracy. I mean, Zach Wilson is a guy that should be making these throws, even coming out of college as a rookie. And I get it, a couple drops by the running backs, Ty Johnson, again, another guy was betting against the Jets with those drops early on. But man, I feel like Zach Wilson at times is out of whack. You're looking at the receivers sometimes shaking their head at times with the overthrown balls. I feel like every time he overthrows Jamison Crowder all the time. Jamison Crowder is not 6'5", 6'6". He's only 6 foot. So these are throws that, Wilson has to be making. And I'm fully aware he's a rookie and he was dealt a bad hand going to the Jets. But I think these mistakes are something that I think he will improve on. But in terms of what we're saying at this point, the question is, at this point, Zach Wilson is out of whack. These things have to be corrected. And I'm just seeing things that, are reminiscent a little bit of Josh Allen. I feel like the comparison is completely, accurate when it comes to Josh Allen and Wilson in their first years. I feel like, Josh Allen had more interceptions than touchdowns. Wilson, same thing. So if Wilson can, year 2, year 3, follow into Allen's footsteps, I can totally see that happening. But right now, he's out of whack.
Out of whack is a very interesting way to put that. I don't know. I would say that Zach Wilson is in need of the 2 H's. And what I would say that is health and help. He obviously has to stay healthy so that he can continue to hone his skills, to hopefully increase his poise. Still has some happy feet a lot of times. Still likes to lean towards making the more difficult pass and the more difficult play. Still has to be kind of begged or dragged, kicking and screaming and taking the check down. Like, nobody's trying to turn him into a check down king, but there are times when he's still looking to stretch the ball down the field. But I think that is the kind of stuff that will hopefully come in time, right? That's all you can hope for with that. You continue to coach him up. You continue to work on those kinds of things. And we've seen it happen with guys like Brett Favre and, other guys who had similar type issues. And to a degree, there's like this compromise, right? With the guys with the big arm and are dynamic outside of the pocket and that sort of thing. You don't want to stamp out every bit of their creativity, every aspect of their ability to play backyard football, because those types of things, if you look at like Kyler Murray and some of these other guys, they're making winning style plays playing this way. But the on the flip side of that, you have to rein that in somewhat. And a guy like Zach Wilson appears to be a guy who thinks he can make every single throw there is, even when he can't. And it's very difficult for him to grasp that some of those plays are just not good plays. So I think in order for him to stay healthy, in order for him to get the reps and that sort of thing that he needs to get past that, he has to stay healthy. The other thing is he's got to get some help from an offensive line standpoint. Injured Mekhi Becton, who is still out, and I believe they weighed him. He's at 370 right now, while he's recovering from this injury. So which means that by the time he comes back, it may not even be smart to let him play again this year. And the reason why that is because, first of all, he's going to be recovering from an injury. Secondly, he's even heavier, which means there's more weight and more stress on those lower extremities. And he's already had these injury issues anyway. I've said this before on previous episodes of the show. I think he is the single most important guy from a player teammate standpoint to the success of Zach Wilson right now. He is a destroyer when healthy on the left side of the offensive line. He needs him. But beyond that, they need to do something in free agency or even in the draft to solidify the other side of that offensive line. They need to get strong and tight there as well. If Zach Wilson can play behind an above average offensive line, an above average, not a decent one, because he's too young at this point to manage that. See, you got guys like, you looked at Aaron Rodgers on Sunday night. He's playing behind a makeshift offensive line because of all of the injuries, and they even suffered an injury on Sunday night in the middle of that game. But he's a veteran quarterback, understands how to read defenses, how to get the ball out of his hands quickly, all of those different sorts of things. He can manage a situation like that. Zach Wilson's not at that place yet. So he really needs to be fortified with a strong offensive line. So for me, it's the two H's. It is health and help. He is in need of help and help is what I'll say.